You are listening to the Certified Personal Trainer Podcast, a show by personal trainers for personal trainers. It's time to become a better trainer, get more clients, and change more lives. And now, here's your host, the head coach and founder of Fitness Mentors, Eddie Lester.
Hey guys, welcome to the Fitness Mentors Certified Personal Trainer Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Lester, and today I wanted to start off by talking about the successful launch of the online trainer mentorship, as well as get into a little bit around self-growth in times of hardship. So I wanted to start off by talking just a little bit about the mentorship. We were off and running about 2 days ago on our weekly call. We really went over the setting up process of really determining your niche for your online personal training business, as well as setting up all your social media to announce that you are now in this new career path. We have a ton of great students in there that are taking actionable advice towards building their online personal training business. And we really look forward to helping you as well as the people already in the mentorship. So definitely feel free to reach out if this is something that you're really interested in being a part of. On top of that, I did just want to kind of say that, 2020 is quite a unique year to start a podcast. And specifically, this is why I wanted to talk about self-growth in times of hardship. 2020 has thrown some crazy curveballs at all of us with, COVID really wrecking most of the entire fitness industry for 3 months, and now moving into social unrest due to systemic racism that has led to rioting and things of that nature in the United States, as well as even in other countries. And really, as opposed to really getting deep into the issues and everything about it, I wanted to provide you guys a tool around self-growth, once again, in times of hardship, in times of unrest. And really, this is something that has been pivotal for me on the podcast, is helping you guys beyond just the element of fitness. And we all have chosen fitness to be kind of the way that we make money, we'll say. But really, when it comes down to being a human and growing and maturing and understanding the way that the world works, so much of that falls on us as an individual and our own efforts to grow in love with ourselves and to grow in mindset and to grow emotionally. And the specific advice that I wanted to give around this is something that I've been using a long time. And that's really taking responsibility for every emotion and reaction and feeling and pretty much everything in your life. And I want to give a specific example, because when you think about something that triggers an emotion, maybe you saw something over the past week that has really triggered an emotion. The best thing to do when that happens, as well as, when you have time to yourself, is recognize and accept that that's the emotion that you're feeling. And if anything, what's so crucial is to feel that emotion. And, when we try to force down our emotions, when we try to really, not allow our emotions to come up, it really does put this burden on us, and sometimes comes out as stress or, even some physical ailments. But what's so important about everything around us that we're constantly in front of is that it is a direct teacher of where you are in your life. And, over the past week, I've seen so many things that have triggered emotions in me, like fear and sadness and angst and frustration. And one of the most important things that I've done, and this has actually just really hit me in a big wave yesterday, was I allowed myself to feel those things. And when I was in those emotions and truly allowing those emotions to kind of pour out of me, making me feel angry, maybe, allowing myself to feel sad, allowing myself to feel frustrated. It's a moment of really allowing myself to regain the power of control over my own life. When we start to think about the things that affect us, these are direct mirrors of lessons that we need to learn. So when I said everything in front of us is our teacher, it's a very powerful way to look at life. If you look at something and say, that happened because, and then you throw out an excuse, like that happened because of them, or it's their fault. When we start to give away the responsibility of everything that we create in our life, what we really start to do is we give away our power to grow. And the moment that you look at something and you accept the emotions around it, and you're able to feel it and take it in as your belief and your thoughts, and basically accept them as your own, it really allows you to be in control and be in power with your own emotional growth and spiritual growth. And even, really just allows you to grow within your own mind. And specifically, when we're in these moments, there's a transformational energy about, we'll say, getting rid of negative emotions. And also there's a transformational energy to accepting and loving positive emotions like happiness and love and joy. But really what's so important about your surroundings every single day is that you're always being triggered. Your emotions are always being triggered. And if you notice that there's a ton of negative emotions consistently in a few days, there's definitely a discord within, who you are allowing yourself to be, as well as who you are, or your own self, and you're basically not allowing the lessons to come to you if you don't accept that those are your beliefs and those are your feelings and those are your emotions. So when we talk about self-growth in a time of, uncertainty like this week or 2020 in general, the best thing we can do is take responsibility. And when we take responsibility, we're really taking responsibility for the way that we feel. And when you take responsibility for the way that you feel, you can responsibly feel and express those emotions, whether they be verbally to someone else in a responsible way, not being angry at someone because they did something, but taking responsibility and accepting that you feel a certain way from the situation, but it's your feeling. It gives you the power back. And when you can really move along that pathway, it opens you up to self-growth. So once you are able to feel these emotions, there will be this release of, we'll say, negative energy. If you have negative emotions built up and everything that you see in your life around you is really frustrating and angry and sad, when you feel those, there's going to be a release of, wow, I felt those through and I feel better because of it. It takes this weight off your shoulders. When you are constantly bombarded with this weight of negative emotion and you don't allow yourself to feel it, you really start to move towards this discord of your physical body, your discord of your mind, and you really start to not live the life that is genuine to you. So just to keep this kind of podcast short and to the point, when you have the opportunity to feel your emotions, and I really want you to do this in a responsible way, one thing I like to do is go in my bedroom, close the door, and just sit there and accept and feel how I'm feeling about a specific issue. Focus on every step of that issue and really allow myself to feel, I ask myself, how do I feel about this element of what's going on? How do I feel about this element? And I go through each one and I say, I feel, oh God, this makes me feel so sad. And I sit there with my sadness for however long it takes to feel better. And then I sit there with my anger, and I sometimes even physically clench my fist and I get angry at the way that I feel about that happening. And what this does is once again, it's a way to release energy and get yourself back kind of in line and in kind of connection to who you really are. So what this does is when you get in this moment and we'll say you're in your room and you're feeling these emotions and you're angry and you may even have some physical elements that come with it. What it allows you to do is to connect with yourself because you're being true to the way you feel. And when we start to think about why would I feel a certain way about this event? Why do I feel angry about someone stealing, or why do I feel angry about someone killing someone else, to get more literal? There's emotions that come from those, and the reason why they do is because there is a connection in our life that has led us to believe we'll say, truth about our world and about our perspective on life. And when we start to understand that everything around us is only as real as our perspective lets it be, then we start to really realize that we have the opportunity to change our perspective. And this is where the growth of global consciousness can occur. Because if you take the time and sit down and go through that process of feeling your emotions and understanding that it's your beliefs and your feelings and your emotions, and you elevate yourself above those emotions by releasing the negative and feeling maybe the gratitude for what you do have, feeling the happiness for your current surroundings, that really, what it does is it elevates your consciousness. And when every individual, or we'll say any individual, elevates their own consciousness, it elevates the consciousness of the world. And this is really just a big picture way to look at we'll say, solution to the way you might feel right now in an angry way or something of that nature. How do you get through those emotions, and how do you change your life and mindset and perspective towards love? I'm pretty sure everyone agrees that it's better to choose love over hate. And how can you get closer to choosing love in every situation in your life? It's recognizing that you have emotions, and those emotions are triggers that allow you, if they're negative emotions, it lets you know that this is not aligned with who you are. And what it does is it's also a trigger of potentially past events in your life that you might not feel comfortable with. And this is where we start to get really deep down the rabbit hole. And I'm not going to go crazy deep here because this is really the type of work that will completely shift your entire perspective. But imagine if every single part of your existence and the way that you are and your personality stems from something that occurred previously in your life. And specifically when our minds were just beginning to understand the world. What if our childhood set us up for every single belief that we have? And therefore, because of every single belief, it sets us up for every single emotion that we feel about certain situations. There's many psychologists that understand or have done work to show that childhood events lead to potential, we'll say, personality types and just your personality as you become an adult. And what if we had events in our childhood that led us to a specific belief about, we'll say, baseball or a sport? Let's say you were a 3-year-old and your brother and you were playing baseball, and your brother accidentally swung the bat and hit you in the head. And because of that moment, you became afraid of people with bats in general, and therefore you don't like the sport of baseball. This is just a super surface level thing, but every single person that has a belief about something and an opinion about something, it stems from something that they've experienced. So when you start to think about the people around you, and when you start to think about yourself, you can gain the power of changing your life when you accept that what your opinion and your emotion and your we'll say mindset around a specific issue is changeable. And that's done through accepting your emotions, recognizing that it may not be, we'll say, something that you need to be fearful of, like baseball. And what that allows you to do is shift your mindset, change your perspective, and elevate your consciousness, which will then allow you to really change your life. And once again, when you elevate your consciousness, it elevates the consciousness of the globe and of the world. So hopefully with this sort of simple motivational style podcast, I just want you guys to sit and think, where am I suppressing an emotion? Where am I not allowing myself to feel a certain way? And maybe right now you're emotional around something that's going on in your life. Have you sat down and allowed yourself to feel it and accepted it as we'll say that you are responsible for everything that happens in your life? Because when you can do that, when you can really, sit down and take the time to recognize that everything in your life is, we'll say, your responsibility, that everything that you've created in your life is because of your choices, in a sense, that gives you the power. And this is where we start to think about the mindset of, the top businessmen. And when you can really allow yourself to understand the tools you need to change your perspective on the world, you can open your mind up to be more open to new ideas and new ways of thinking and new strategies for success. So I hope this has really helped kind of just maybe give you a simple tool to allow you to elevate yourself, feel your emotions, get to your own self-growth easier. And I'd love to hear your feedback on this. This is, I don't often get this deep when we start to get into podcasts, especially making the entire podcast about it. But it feels like, at this time in, the world's history, the more people that can connect with themselves and live the true life that or be the true person that they are and move towards love as opposed to staying in hate or moving towards hate, there will be a global shift, and therefore there will be a global shift towards love. And when we all love ourselves more, the world loves itself more. When we all elevate our consciousness, the global consciousness elevates as well. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening and tuning in, and we'll get back on track with some amazing fitness topics next week. Have a good one.
As always, thanks for listening to the Certified Personal Trainer Podcast. You can learn more about fitness mentors at fitnessmentors.com. Be sure to share this podcast on social media. And remember, we are here to help you succeed.